You sitting here right now thinking that the world got his foot on your neck. You think it's your background. You think it's your family. You think it's your lack of money, connections, education. But I'm telling you the truth. From where I stand, your thoughts are your real enemy. Listen to me. The brain is a battlefield. And most of y'all are losing the war inside your own head before you even step on the field. When I was homeless, when I was eating out of trash can, it wasn't the world that held me back. It was the voice in my head telling me, you're not good enough. You're a high school dropout. You ain't got what it takes. But I had to change that voice. I had to reprogram my mindset. I started feeding my brain with truth. I started saying to myself, I'm a lion. I'm a king. I was born to lead. The moment I changed my thoughts, my life changed. My life changed. Doors open. Opportunities came, but not because the world changed, because I changed how I saw the world. You got to stop playing small because of a mental script someone else gave you. You are not a failure. You are not stuck. The only thing holding you back is the ceiling you built inside your mind. Get this. Your thoughts create your limits, and your thoughts can destroy those same limits. You want to reach greatness? It's not out there. It's in here. Points to head. I dare you today to believe in something bigger than fear, bigger than doubt, bigger than your past. I dare you to believe in you. Because the moment you do that, the moment you take control of your thoughts, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Everybody wants to talk about what's going around them. You don't understand. My parents weren't supportive. I came from the hood. I came from nothing. The school system failed me. I didn't get the opportunities they got. And look, I'm not here to tell you your pain ain't real. I'm not saying your struggle ain't valid. I've been through it, man. I've been homeless. I've eaten out of trash cans. I've slept in abandoned buildings. So I know what hardship looks like. I know what pain feels like. But here's the difference. While everybody else was blaming their surrounding, I realized that the biggest fight I had wasn't against my situation. It was against my mindset. See, you can't control what family you were born into. You can't control the zip code you grew up in. You can't control the pain you had to endure as a child. But what you can control, what you must control, is how you think about those things. Because your mind is the command center. Your thoughts shape your decisions. And your decisions shape your life. I'm telling you, the most dangerous thing in your life is not poverty. It's not injustice. It's not lack of opportunity. It's a mindset that tells you you're stuck. It's that voice in your head that says, this is all there is for me. I'm never going to make it. The battlefield ain't out there. It's right here in your head. I've seen people who had everything, money, support, a great education, but they lost because they didn't believe in themselves. And I've seen people with nothing, no resources, no help, no guidance, but they still rose up because they had the right mindset. They believed that their situation didn't define them. They believed they could grow, improve, and conquer. And that belief turned into discipline. And that discipline turned into results. Some of you got the talent. You got the skill. But your mind's been feeding you lies since the day you were born. Lies like I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm too late. I'm too early. I'm too broken. You've been hypnotized by failure. You've been trained to expect loss. And so even when opportunity shows up, you sabotage it. Why? Because your mind already told you you're not worthy of winning. That's why you're stuck. That's why you don't start the business. That's why you don't apply for the job. That's why you keep quitting every time it gets hard. Because your thoughts already decided the outcome before the game began. Let me break it down. Your external situation is just data. It's just information. But your mind is the interpreter. Two people can go through the exact same storm. One sinks and the other soars. Why? Because one said, this storm is gonna me, and the other said, this storm is gonna make me stronger. Your mindset is the lens you look through. And if that lens is dirty with fear, insecurity, and doubt, then nothing you see will ever look like opportunity. It'll all look like problems. And here's the part nobody tells you. You can choose your mindset. You're not stuck with the one you grew up with. You're not stuck with the negativity you absorb from your environment. You can clean that lens. You can rewire your thoughts. You can say, I used to think like a victim, but now I think like a warrior. I used to see setbacks as failure, but now I see them as fuel. You can wake up every day and say, or no matter what comes against me, I will win in my mind before I win in my life. That's what I did. I stopped looking at my environment and started looking at my mind. I stopped asking for things to get easier and started asking to get stronger. I didn't need more money. I needed more belief. I didn't need a better start. I needed a better mentality. And once I got that mindset right, everything else followed. Doors opened. Opportunities came. People started listening. Not because I changed the world, but because I changed the way I thought about the world. So the next time you're tempted to complain, I want you to stop and check your thoughts. Ask yourself, is it really the situation? Or is it how I'm thinking about the situation? Most of the time, it's not what's going on around you. It's what's going on inside you. And if you don't win the inner battle, you'll never win the outer one. You got to take full ownership of your mind. Stop renting it out to fear, doubt, and negativity. Take it back. Program it with truth. Feed it with hope. Train it with discipline. Because once your mindset shifts, your whole life will shift. You keep wondering why you're not getting to the next level. You think it's because of your boss. You think it's because you didn't go to college. You think it's because you don't have enough money or you don't have the right connection. But the truth is, none of that matters until you confront the voice in your own head. That voice is killing your potential. That voice is the enemy, not the haters, not your past, not even your mistakes. It's what you tell yourself every single day. It's the conversations you're having when nobody's watching. That's what's keeping you from winning. Every morning you wake up and you've already lost. Not because of what's in front of you, but because of what's within you. You've got negative programming playing on repeat in your brain like a broken record. You get out of bed thinking, I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. I'll probably fail again. I'm too old. I'm too young. I've messed up too much. And what you don't realize is that you're speaking death into your own future. You think it's harmless because no one hears it. You think it's not that deep because it's just a thought. But let me tell you, every thought is a seed. And if you keep planting doubt, you're going to keep harvesting disappointment. If you keep feeding fear, fear will grow roots in your soul. If you keep watering negativity, it'll bloom into insecurity, procrastination, excuses, and failure. You want to build an empire, but your thoughts are tearing it down before you even lay the foundation. It starts small. One little whisper in your mind. I'm not smart enough. This isn't for people like me. Or why even try? And the more you repeat it, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you act like it. And the more you act like it, the more it becomes your reality. That's the cycle. And until you break that cycle, you will never break through. Listen to me. Self-talk is powerful. You don't have to have someone in your life tearing you down. Because most of y'all are doing that job better than anybody else ever could. You clowning yourself every day. You dragging your own name through the mud before you even take a shot. You disqualify yourself before anybody else a chance to. You're living under a verdict that you wrote. I've been there. You think I walk through homelessness with a smile on my face every day? You think when I dropped out of high school, I automatically believed I was going to turn it all around? No, I had voices too. I had doubts too. That voice told me I'd never make it, that I'd always be a nobody, that success wasn't in my bloodline. But you know what I did? I talked back. I didn't just let that voice have the last word. I opened my mouth and fought back. I started telling myself the truth. I was born to win. I've got purpose. My past does not define my future. I'm not done yet. I am more than this moment. You got to stop being a victim of your own inner critic and become the architect of your new mindset. I dare you to challenge every negative thought that tries to sneak into your head. I dare you to ask it, where's your evidence? I dare you to remind it of your potential, your grind, your goals. Because that voice ain't truth. It's fear disguised as logic. It's insecurity pretending to be caution. It's gotta go. You've got dreams, but your dreams can't survive in a toxic mind. You want confidence, you want discipline, you want motivation. But all of that starts with how you speak to yourself. If you can't believe in you, don't expect anybody else to. If you don't talk to yourself like a winner, don't expect to live like one. So from now on, I want you to catch every thought. I want you to monitor your mental diet. Just Like you wouldn't put trash in your body and expect to feel great. You can't put trash in your mind and expect to live great. Be intentional, be deliberate. Start your mornings with power. Oh, affirm yourself, write your vision down and speak it. Not once, not twice, every day, over and over, until that new voice becomes louder than the old one. Because the truth is this, the first battle you got to win is against that voice that says you can. That's the gatekeeper to success. That's the first mountain to climb. The enemy isn't always out there. Sometimes it's sitting right between your ear, but the good news, you got the power to silence it. You got the power to speak life. You got the power to rewrite the script. Now do it. Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop saying, if I had more money, if I had more connections, if I had more time. Listen to me. It's not the lack of resources that's holding you back. It's the lack of resourcefulness. There are people with less than you who are doing more than you. Why? Because they stopped focusing on what they didn't have, haven't started maximizing what they do have. They looked around, took inventory and said, I'm going to flip this. I'm going to stretch it. I'm going to make it work. You think you need more tools, but really you need more tenacity. You need more creativity. You need more hunger. That's what separates the winners from the watchers. The winners don't wait for the perfect condition. They create conditions. They don't wait to be given permission. They give themselves permission. They say, if I've got a voice, I'm going to use it. If I've got a phone, I'm going to make content. If I've got 24 hours, I'm going to dominate every minute. Because the truth is, what you have right now is enough if you're willing to work it. I've been broke. I've been bromeless. I've had nothing. And still, I found a way. When I didn't have a mic, I used my voice. When I didn't have an audience, I spoke to empty rooms like they were packed stadium. When I didn't have a platform, I built one. Because I wasn't going to wait around for someone to hand me an opportunity. I became the opportunity. I became the opportunity. And if you're serious about your purpose, you've got to do the same. You've got to look at your situation and say, this might not be ideal, but it's still mine. And I'm going to make the most of it. People always think they need more followers, more gear, more credentials. But let me ask you, are you even using what you already have? Are you maxing out your current resources? Are you studying, learning, practicing, creating, showing up every single day with what's in your hand, Or are you sitting on your gifts, waiting for someone to come activate you? That's not how greatness works. Greatness doesn't wait for a green light. Greatness moves and becomes the light. You're sitting there thinking, but I don't know where to start. Start anywhere. Start with what you know. Start with what you feel. Start with what you love. Just start. Resourcefulness means using the little you got and turning it into something bigger. It means building from scratch. It means making mistakes and learning as you go. It means Googling it, asking questions, watching tutorial, getting back up every time you fail. Resourcefulness is about figuring it out instead of checking out. You've got people out here who didn't have parents, didn't have funding, didn't have mentor, didn't even have support, and they still made it. Why? Because they were hungry. Why? Because they were hungry. They didn't wait for a miracle. They became the miracle. And now you're telling me you can't move forward because you don't have what somebody else had. You don't need what they had. You got what you had. And that's enough if you're willing to use it. Some of you are praying for a blessing, but you're sitting on the very thing God gave you to bless others. You're hiding your gift. You're minimizing your calling. You're saying, one day, when every day is a new opportunity to create. You don't need a studio to record a message that changes lives. You don't need a stage to lead. You don't need a big name to make a big difference. What you need is to look in the mirror and decide, I'm done playing small. I'm done waiting. I'm going to flip this. I'm going to take these 5 loaves and 2 fish and feed a crowd with it. You got a dream? Then work it. Work with what you got. That's what resourcefulness looks like. You might not have the best camera, but shoot the video. You might not have the best gym, but do the workout. You might not have a business loan, but start the hustle. You might not have formal education, but study harder than everyone around you. You're not out of options. You're out of excuses. Resourcefulness is the mindset that says, I will not stop until I win. I will not settle. I will not let lack define me. It's the spirit of youth. I'll find a way. I'll build a bridge. I'll climb the wall. I'll crawl through the mud. Whatever it takes, I'm going to make something out of nothing, because that's what champions do. They don't wait for opportunity. They create it. You're not too late. You're not too late. You're not too poor. You're not too inexperienced. You're not too old or too young. You're ready. If you'll stop waiting and start working. If you'll stop complaining and start creating. You've got more than you think. Use it. Multiply it. Stretch it. Be faithful with the little and watch it grow. That's resourcefulness. And that's the beginning of greatness. You keep trying to live a powerful life, but your thinking is weak. You want to level up. You want to walk in purpose. You want to create impact. But your thoughts are soft, unfocused, scattered, and full of doubt. And I'm telling you right now, that doesn't matter. You can't have power on the outside when everything on the inside is shaky. You can't build something great if the foundation is unstable. And your thoughts, your everyday thoughts, are the foundation of your life. We got people waking up every single day trying to grind, trying to hustle, trying to push forward, but your mind isn't aligned with your mission. You want to speak with authority, walk with confidence, lead with purpose, but deep down, your thoughts are saying, I don't belong here. I'm not enough. I hope they don't find out I'm not as good as they think. Powerless thinking. And let me tell you, the world doesn't respond to what you wish for. It responds to what you believe. I see it all the time. People doing all the right things on the surface. They got the vision board. They've read the books. They follow all the motivational pages, but they still lose every single time because they never fix the real problem, the conversation they're having in their head. And if that conversation is full of fear, full of insecurity, full of limitation, then guess what? Your results will reflect that, period. You can't expect to win if your thoughts are telling you that you're supposed to lose. You can't expect to walk in power if your mind is rehearsing defeat. That's like trying to light a fire with wet wood. Wet, it doesn't matter how many sparks you throw at it, it's not going to catch. You got to dry out those thoughts. You got to purge the negativity. You got to strip away anything in your mind that doesn't agree with the future you're trying to create. You've been praying for power. You've been asking for opportunity. You've been hoping for a breakthrough. God is saying, I can't pour power into a mind that's full of fear. You want strength, but your thoughts are fragile. You want clarity, but your thoughts are cluttered with chaos. You want growth, but your thoughts are stuck in survival mode. And until you change that internal narrative, nothing around you is going to change. Look, I'm not just preaching to you. I live this. There was a time when I was doing the work physically, but I was broken mentally. I'd wake up and grind all day, but my inner voice was still whispering, you're just a high school dropout. You're just a street kid. Who do you think you are trying to motivate the world? I had the ambition, but I didn't have the belief. I have the dream, but I didn't have the thought life to support it. And because of that, I hit wall after wall. But then something clicked. I realized that the power I was looking for wasn't out there. It was inside me. It had always been there, but it was buried under layers of weak thinking, negative programming, and lies I had accepted as truth. So I went to war, not against people, not against the world. I went to war with my own mind. I started challenging every thought that didn't serve me. I stopped letting my past define my potential. I stopped replaying every failure and started declaring victory over my life, even before I saw it. And let me tell you, the shift wasn't magical. It was intentional. It was daily. It was work. I had to train my mind the same way athletes train their bodies. I had to push my thoughts past their comfort zone. I had to create a mental routine. I had to speak life even when I felt broken. I had to remind myself that my words had weight. And if I kept speaking weak, I'd keep living weak. You want a powerful life? Then you've got to think powerful thoughts. You've got to program your mind to expect greatness, not defeat. You got to think abundance, not scarcity. Purpose, not confusion. Faith, not fear. Discipline, not distraction. Your life will always rise or fall to the level of your thinking. And don't misunderstand me. This isn't about hype. This isn't just positive thinking for the sake of sounding good. This is about alignment. Because when your thoughts are powerful, your actions become powerful. Your energy changes, your decisions shift. You stop hesitating, you stop doubting, you stop hiding, you stop hiding, you stop becoming. That's when things move. That's when doors open. That's when people notice the shift, not just in what you're doing, but in who you are. So today, I dare you to examine your thoughts. Really look at them. Are they leading you closer to your vision or further away? Are they fueling your fire or draining your drive? Because you can't keep building a future on thoughts that don't believe in it. You can't walk in power if your thoughts are stuck in fear. You want to live a powerful life? Then start with powerful thinking. You think your thoughts are just passing through. You think they're small, temporary, harmless. But let me tell you, every thought is a brick. And every day you're building something with those bricks. You're either building a strong future, a powerful life, a foundation that can hold your dreams, or you're building a prison that keeps you stuck. That's it. Every thought counts. Every single one. You don't just wake up successful. You don't just wake up disciplined, confident, focused. You build that mindset, brick by brick, thought by thought. But here's the part most people miss. The building is always happening, whether you're intentional about it or not. And if you're not paying attention, you might be building something that's working against you. You might be building fear, building procrastination, building doubt, building comfort, and then you wonder why your results look the same every year. You wonder why you're not moving forward. It's because you're building in the wrong direction. I need you to understand this. Thoughts are not neutral. They don't just sit there. They produce, they multiply. A single thought becomes a belief. A belief becomes a habit. A habit becomes your lifestyle. And your lifestyle determines your legacy. So when you let negative thoughts run wild, when you say, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or what if I fail? You're not just thinking, you're laying down bricks. And you're gonna have to live in whatever structure those bricks create. Let's go deeper. Most of you have been building for years without realizing what you're building. You've been constructing walls of fear, of shame, of insecurity, and those walls have blocked every blessing that was trying to reach you. The opportunity came, but you couldn't see it because your thinking said you weren't ready. The connection showed up, but your mind was still saying, I don't belong here. That's why mindset isn't optional. That's why you can't afford to be careless with your thoughts. You're either building the life you want or reinforcing the life you said you want to leave behind. When I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, when I had nothing, when I was at my lowest, I still had thoughts. And every time I thought about giving up, every time I thought maybe this is all I'll ever be, I had a choice. Was I gonna keep stacking bricks on top of failure? Or was I gonna lay down a new foundation? So I started laying one brick at a time. You can do this. Oh, I'll brick. Or not your path. Brick. There's more for you. Brick. And over time, those bricks turned into beliefs. And those beliefs turned into discipline. And that discipline turned into a brand, into a movement, into a mission. But don't get it twisted. I still have to build every day. I still wake up and choose my bricks. Because just like a house, your mindset can break down if you stop maintaining. You got to check every brick. Inspect your thoughts. Ask yourself, is this thought building me or breaking me? Because some of y'all are trying to move forward, but your mind is sabotaging you behind the scenes. You say you want success, but your thoughts are still rehearsing failure. You say you want love, but your thoughts are still stuck in rejection. You say you want growth, but your mind is feeding you every excuse to stay the same. That's the problem. You're asking for new outcomes with old thinking. But new levels require new construction. You need stronger bricks, better thoughts, thoughts of purpose, not panic, thoughts of power, not pity, thoughts of vision, not victimhood. You want a future that's unshakable? Then you've got to build it one thought at a time. And I'm not saying this is easy. Rebuilding your mind takes work. You've got to tear down old walls. You've got to dig up faulty foundations. You've got to face the lies you've been telling yourself for years and replace them with truth. But the reward is a life you're proud of, a life that's aligned with who you were born to be. Look, you don't build a skyscraper with paper-thin walls. You don't build legacy with low-level thinking. You got to stack thoughts of greatness every single day. You got to wake up and say, today I lay a brick for my future, and then do it again tomorrow and the next day Until one day you look up and realize you built something unbreakable. Every thought is a decision. Every thought is a tool. Every thought is either a weapon against your purpose or a weapon for it. The world isn't just watching what you do. It's reacting to what you believe. So I need you to believe on purpose. Think on purpose. Build on purpose. Because your future is waiting and it's counting on you to build it strong. You're walking around with big dreams in your heart, but your mindset is stuck in survival mode. And I'm here to tell you, that doesn't work. You can't expect to live a life of abundance, freedom, and purpose while thinking small. You can't step into greatness with a poverty mindset. You can't build a global legacy with limited thinking. You want to live big? You got to think big first. That small thinking, that's the real enemy. It's not your background. It's not your bank account. It's not your circumstances. It's the belief system that says, I'm just trying to get by. The one that whispers, maybe this is enough for me. You were born with power, with purpose, with potential. But that voice inside your head keeps shrinking your vision. That voice has you looking at your dream like it's too much, like it's too far, like it's too big for someone like you. But let me ask you, who told you to play small? Who told you to shrink your light, to quiet your voice, to settle for average? I'll tell you who. Fear, insecurity, past trauma, environments that didn't believe in you. But hear me, that wasn't true. That was programming. And now, every time you think about stepping up, every time you imagine a future that's bigger than your present, that programming starts kicking in. It says, who do you think you are? And if you listen long enough, it'll convince you to stay small for the rest of your life. But you can't afford that. Not anymore. Not now. Not when the clock is ticking and you know you were made for more. Playing small is expensive. It costs you opportunities. It costs you peace. It costs you peace. It costs you time you'll never get back. Some of you are so afraid of failure that you've been paying the price of inaction for years. And that price is too high. The life you're dreaming of, it requires a new level of thinking. It requires you to walk different, move different, speak different, believe different, speak different, believe different. Let me be real. The reason most people never experience the life they were meant to live is because their thoughts never graduate. Their goals stay in the same neighborhood. They think survival when they should be thinking legacy. They think paycheck to paycheck when they should be thinking wealth creation. They think about getting by instead of building something that lives beyond. You can't keep thinking like the version of yourself that just wants to escape the pain. You got to start thinking like the version of yourself that's ready to embrace the promise. When I was homeless, when I was eating out of trash cans, I had two choices. I could think like my situation, small, broken, defeated, or I could think like my future. And I chose to think like the man I hadn't become yet. I chose to believe that there was more for me, even though nothing in my life looked like it. I spoke big even when I had nothing. I dreamed big even when I didn't have $1. Because if I didn't learn to think big in the pit, I was never going to rise to the palace. You've got to stop measuring your potential by your current condition. Stop letting your surroundings set the limit on your vision. Just because nobody around you is dreaming big doesn't mean it's wrong. It means you've been planning to break the cycle. It means you're the one who's supposed to stretch the boundaries. But you can't do that thinking the same thoughts as everybody else. You can't do that if you're still thinking about what might go wrong. You got to start thinking about what could go right. And I'm not talking about hype. I'm not talking about pretending everything's perfect. I'm talking about shifting your perspective. I'm talking about saying, I don't care what happened in the past. I'm thinking forward now. I'm building now. I'm expanding now. I'm claiming everything that was already mine. I just had to level up my thoughts to receive it. Because listen, if your dream is big, your mind has to match it. If your vision is global, your thinking can't stay local. If your goals are 10x, your thoughts can't be stuck on plan B. Every time you think small, you disconnect from your power. You disconnect from the version of you that is capable of changing lives. You pull back from your destiny. And the scary part is, you start getting comfortable with it. You get used to playing small. You justify it. You normalize it. But something in your soul still knows, this isn't it. There's more. There's greater. And that inner voice, that's the real you, the future you, calling out for more. So here's what I need from you. Challenge every small thought. Question every belief that says, hey, this is all there is. Replace every limitation with truth. Declare that you're not thinking survival anymore. You're thinking strategy. You're not thinking pain anymore. You're thinking purpose. You're not just trying to make it. You're here to dominate, to serve, to elevate, to inspire. You can't afford to think small. Every single day, you're either cultivating something or you're fighting something. Your mind is not just a space for thoughts. It's soil. And that soil is growing something, whether you know it or not. You don't get to opt out. Your mind is either a garden of purpose, where dreams are planted, watered, and nurtured, or it's a battlefield of fear, and limitations show up every morning ready to fight you. And the problem is, most people don't even realize they're in a war. So in a war, they wake up and just react to life, letting whatever thoughts come to them decide their mood, their choices, their destiny. But I'm here to tell you, if you're not intentional, your mind will be taken over. This is spiritual warfare, mental warfare, emotional warfare. And every day you're either winning or losing based on what's growing inside you. Purpose is not automatic. Discipline doesn't happen by chance. Growth doesn't just show up. You gotta plant it. You gotta protect it. You gotta pull out the weeds of doubt and distraction before they take over everything you're trying to build. You think a powerful life is built with talent alone. No, it's built with mental clarity, with focused thought, with discipline in your thinking, before the discipline shows up in your actions. See, a garden doesn't grow fruit because the sun came out. It grows because somebody did the work. Somebody broke the ground. Somebody planted the seed. Somebody watered it, protected it from pests, trimmed it when it got overgrown. That's how your purpose works. You want clarity, focus, strength, creativity. Then you better be planting thoughts of abundance, of gratitude, of resilience. You want to harvest greatness? Then stop planting mediocrity. Well, let's be real. Too many of you are living on a battlefield. You're not planting. You're surviving. You're reacting to every attack. You're dodging lies. You're ducking from your past. You're defending yourself from voices that told you you'll never be good enough. You're not meant for more. You're wasting your time. And every time you try to rise up, those thoughts hit you like arrows. And the worst part, you stop believing them. You stop planting. You stop dreaming. You stop nurturing your purpose because you're too busy defending yourself from what the world told you you couldn't be. But hear me, you were never meant to stay on the battlefield. You weren't born to fight forever. You were born to build, to create, to lead. But before you can do that, you gotta win the war in your mind. You gotta stop letting doubt take up space where your dreams should live. You got to evict fear and start making room for vision. Because you can't be both the victim of your thoughts and the builder of your destiny. You gotta choose. And I know what you're thinking. How do I do that? I'll tell you, you gotta get intentional about what you let into your mental soil. You've gotta control what you listen to, what you speak, what you rehearse every day in your mind. You've gotta catch those thoughts before they take root. When a thought shows up and says, or not enough, you don't entertain it. You replace it. You say, I am chosen. I am equipped. I am ready. When fear says, what if you fail? You say, but what if I fly? You don't let the enemy plant weeds in your mind and call it reality. You've got to water the right things. Start feeding yourself truth daily. Read books that elevate you. Listen to voices that inspire you. Surround yourself with people who speak life, not fear. That's how you change the atmosphere of your mind. Not overnight, but consistently. And over time, the garden starts growing. You start to see fruit. You start to move with clarity. You start to operate in purpose instead of panic. That's when life changes. Not when your circumstances change, but when your thinking does. You gotta be your own gardener. No one's coming to do the work for you. This isn't your mama's job. This isn't your mama's job. This isn't your teacher's responsibility. This is your mind, your future, your harvest. So get your hands dirty. Dig deep. Uproot every lie. Pull out the pain, the trauma, the disappointment, and make space for something better. Because the truth is your mind will grow something. And if you don't plant purpose, life will plant limitation. You've been fighting too long. It's time to build. It's time to turn your mind into a space of growth, not war. A space where the seeds of greatness can actually take root. You gotta see your mind not as a victim of what's happened to you, but as a tool to build the life you were born to live. You were meant for more than survival. You were meant to harvest purpose, to live in overflow. But that starts with the thoughts you choose to plant every single day. Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop saying, if I had more money, if I had more connections, if I had more time. Listen to me. It's not the lack of resources that's holding you back. It's the lack of resourcefulness. There are people with less than you who are doing more than you. Why? Because they stopped focusing on what they didn't have and started maximizing what they do have. They looked around, took inventory and said, I'm going to flip this. I'm going to stretch it. I'm going to make it work. You think you need more tools, but really you need more tenacity. You need more creativity. You need more hunger. That's what separates the winners from the watchers. The winners don't wait for the perfect condition. They create conditions. They don't wait to be given permission. They give themselves permission. They say, if I've got a voice, I'm going to use it. If I've got a phone, I'm going to make content. If I've got 24 hours, I'm going to dominate every minute. Because the truth is, what you have right now is enough if you're willing to work it. I've been broke. I've been bromeless. I've had nothing. And still, I found a way. When I didn't have a mic, I used my voice. When I didn't have an audience, I spoke to empty rooms like they were packed stadium. When I didn't have a platform, I built one. Because I wasn't going to wait around for someone to hand me an opportunity. I became the opportunity. Well, I became the opportunity. And if you're serious about your purpose, you've got to do the same. You've got to look at your situation and say, this might not be ideal, but it's still mine. And I'm going to make the most of it. People always think they need more followers, more gear, more credentials. But let me ask you, are you even using what you already have? Are you maxing out your current resources? Are you studying, learning, practicing, creating, showing up every single day with what's in your hand, Or are you sitting on your gifts, waiting for someone to come activate you? That's not how greatness works. Greatness doesn't wait for a green light. Greatness moves and becomes the light. You're sitting there thinking, but I don't know where to start. Start anywhere. Start with what you know. Start with what you feel. Start with what you love. Just start. Resourcefulness means using the little you got and turning it into something bigger. It means building from scratch. It means making mistakes and learning as you go. It means Googling it, asking questions, watching tutorial, getting back up every time you fail. Resourcefulness is about figuring it out instead of checking out. You've got people out here who didn't have parents, didn't have funding, didn't have mentor, didn't even have support, and they still made it. Why? Because they were hungry. Because they were hungry. They didn't wait for a miracle. They became the miracle. And now you're telling me you can't move forward because you don't have what somebody else had. You don't need what they had. You got what you had. And that's enough if you're willing to use it. Some of you are praying for a blessing, but you're sitting on the very thing God gave you to bless others. You're hiding your gift. You're minimizing your calling. You're saying, one day, when every day is a new opportunity to create. You don't need a studio to record a message that changes lives. You don't need a stage to lead. You don't need a big name to make a big difference. What you need is to look in the mirror and decide, I'm done playing small. I'm done waiting. Done going to flip this. I'm going to take these 5 loaves and 2 fish and feed a crowd with it. You got a dream? Then work it. Work with what you got. That's what resourcefulness looks like. You might not have the best camera, but shoot the video. You might not have the best gym, but do the workout. You might not have a business loan, but start the hustle. You might not have formal education, but study harder than everyone around you. You're not out of options. You're out of excuses. Resourcefulness is the mindset that says, I will not stop until I win. I will not settle. I will not let lack define me. It's the spirit of youth. I'll find a way. I'll build a bridge. I'll climb the wall. I'll crawl through the mud. Whatever it takes, I'm going to make something out of nothing. Because that's what champions do. They don't wait for opportunity. They create it. You're not too late. You're not too late. You're not too poor. You're not too inexperienced. You're not too old or too young. You're ready. If you'll stop waiting and start working. If you'll stop complaining and start creating. You've got more than you think. Use it. Multiply it. Stretch it. Be faithful with the little and watch it grow. That's resourcefulness. And that's the beginning of greatness. The problem isn't your life. The problem isn't your job. It's not your neighborhood. It's not your bank account or your background or your circumstances. The problem is how you see it. It's your perspective. It's your lens. Because how you see a situation determines how you respond. And how you respond shapes your results. You can put two people in the exact same environment. One of them sees a trap. The other one sees a training ground. One gets bitter. The other one gets better. It's not about what you're looking at. It's about how you're looking at it. Some of you are letting your vision get hijacked by pain. You're seeing through a lens of trauma, of rejection, of fear. And now everything looks impossible. Everything looks bigger than you. But it's not that it's bigger. It's that your mind keeps shrinking you. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. But you got to adjust your vision if you want to see the opportunity inside the obstacle. You've got to stop focusing on what's missing and start focusing on what's possible. You keep saying, I'm stuck. But are you stuck? Or are you just stuck in the way you're thinking? Are you really trapped? Or do you just believe you are? The bars around you aren't made of steel. They're made of thoughts, limiting beliefs, old patterns. And until you shift your mindset, you're going to keep repeating the same cycle in different seasons. You'll keep sabotaging your blessing. You'll keep stepping back when life is asking you to step forward. The problem isn't that life is hard. The problem is you keep expecting it to be easy. You're shocked when it gets tough. You're offended when things take time. But come on, champions aren't made in convenience. Diamonds don't come from comfort. Stop expecting elevation without pressure. Stop looking at the struggle like it's a curse. It's not. It's a gift. The fire isn't here to destroy you. It's here to refine you, to burn off what you don't need so you can rise stronger. But if you see the fire as the end, you'll never step into the beginning. You've got to see different if you want to live different. That means retraining your eyes, retraining your attitude. You got to start waking up and saying, this situation isn't ideal, but I'm grateful for it. This challenge is stretching me, but it's making me better. This storm is uncomfortable, but it's building something inside me that calm weather never could. That's perspective. That's vision. And vision gives you fuel when life tries to drain you. When I was homeless, I didn't see trash cans. I saw survival. I didn't see empty rooms. I saw future stages. I didn't see rejection. I saw redirection. And that shift in my thinking saved my life. Because once I started seeing differently, I started moving differently. I stopped walking like a victim and started showing up like a warrior. I wasn't waiting on someone to come rescue me. I became the rescuer. I rescued myself with belief, with faith, with vision. You've got to ask yourself, how am I interpreting my situation? Am I speaking defeat over my own destiny? Am I magnifying the problem instead of magnifying the possibility? Because I promise you, what you focus on lack, you'll see focus on lack. You'll see lack. If you focus on fear, you'll feel fear to solve. But if you start focusing on opportunity, on growth, on what you can do, everything changes. The room doesn't even have to change. You changed. And now you're unstoppable in that same room. Let me tell you something. Eagles don't see like pigeons. They fly higher. They zoom out. They don't get caught up in distractions because their vision is trained for purpose. You've been flying low too long. It's time to rise above the noise. Stop seeing like everybody else sees. You're not here to be average. You're not here to fit in. You're here to lead. You're here to lead to break cycles. You're here to see what others can't, so you can do what others won't. And it's not about being naive. It's not about pretending life isn't hard. It's about choosing a lens that serves your growth, not your fear. Choosing to ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of, what me? Choosing to say, this is temporary, instead of, this is permanent. It's about walking by faith, not just by sight, because sight shows you facts, but faith shows you truth. And the truth is you're more powerful than your pain. You're stronger than your struggle. You're built for this. So I dare you, shift your sight. Look again. Reframe the problem. Flip the lens. Start seeing your current position as preparation. Start seeing failure as feedback. Start seeing delay as development. And when your vision changes, your whole world will change. Not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. And clarity is what makes the impossible feel possible. Excuses sound good when you're the one making them. They feel like protection. They feel like reason. If they feel like justification, I didn't have the time. I wasn't born into the right family. I didn't get the support I needed. It's not fair. And listen, I get it. Those excuses come from pain. They come from real places. But here's the truth. Excuses might protect your ego, but they will never build your future. You don't get success by explaining why you couldn't make it happen. You get success by doing whatever it takes to make it happen. And they sound real, don't they? Logical, acceptable, because you can always find a reason to quit. Always. Life will hand you 100 of them every single day. But at the end of the day, when you're standing next to somebody who came from less than you, somebody who had no parents, no guidance, no money, no help, and they still made it. Now what's your excuse? Suddenly your story doesn't sound so convincing anymore, because there's always someone who took the same pain and turned it into power, took the same trauma and turned it into testimony. You see, excuses are like chains. They feel like comfort, but they're actually keeping you locked down. You wear them so long, you forget you're even wearing them. You've been saying, I'm too tired for so long, you don't even try anymore. I'm too broke, so you don't build. I'm too busy, so you don't begin. But let me tell you something, that mindset is killing your potential. Because the people who win, they've got all the same obstacles. They've got all the same setbacks. They just refuse to let those things be the reason they stop. You don't need perfect conditions to do something extraordinary. You need commitment. You need to wake up and say, even though I don't have it all figured out, I'm going to show up anyway. Well, even though I'm hurting, I'm moving forward anyway. Even though I feel fear, I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, that's the difference between those who wish and those who win. Because wishing comes with excuses. Winning comes with execution. When you meet someone who had nothing, no name, no support, no backing, and they still rose, it destroys every excuse you've ever made. When you hear about the single mother working 2 jobs and building a business on her lunch breaks, your story shifts. When you see a man who lost everything and still chose to serve others, still chose to smile, still chose to grind, your narrative gets challenged. It's not to shame you, it's to wake you up. Because the only thing between you and your next level is the story you keep telling yourself about why it's not possible. You've got to get real with yourself. Ask, is this a reason or is this an excuse? Oh, are you really too tired or just too unmotivated? Oh, are you really too busy or just prioritizing distractions? Are you really too broke or are you invested in the wrong thing? Let's stop lying to ourselves. The truth is you could have started already. The truth is you could have stayed consistent. The truth is you could have chosen growth over comfort, but you did. It's not too late, but you've got to stop hiding behind excuses. You've got to develop mental toughness, emotional resilience, spiritual grit. You've got to stop folding every time it gets hard. You've got to stop making exit plans every time it gets uncomfortable. You've got to stop acting like life owes you something. It doesn't, but you owe you. You owe your family. You owe the people counting on you. You owe the younger version of yourself who dreamed big before fear stepped in. That kid didn't dream of a life full of excuses. That kid believed in more. So do it for them. Do it for the kid who thought anything was possible. Do it for the future you who needs to see that this version of you didn't quit. That this version of you faced it all and still showed up. Every time you push past an excuse, you get stronger. Every time you choose action over apathy, your destiny gets closer. That's how you